Right. And also, and then we can just take on, we can have your questions and we can have discussions and so on. And I'm excited today. We have Lakshita who can answer maybe most of your questions. And yes, and there are different people uh, who have been doing um, open learning, like Shiba is there and Rachna is there. So we'll have, I'm hoping, a very interesting discussion today. Okay, cool. So let me quickly share with you a few slides that we have put up. I hope you can see the slides. Um, when we think about open learning, the core of open learning is essentially living with joy. So in a way, it's not even open learning; it's open living, I would say. And that is why this little picture on your screen in the background, where it just shows people, children maybe, and even adults, all all doing what they enjoy doing. Uh, I think somewhere we believe we felt that the whole thing was lost, the whole joy of living and learning in the process of trying to catch up. So um, when we use the term open learning, sometimes people confuse it with unschooling, homeschooling, and then there are many more terms. So we tend to tell people, don't worry about these terms. It doesn't matter. What really matters is uh, where you are. And to look at education not as one fixed standard solution, which is the more common conventional schooling, but as a continuum where sometimes you could have more structured learning, sometimes you could have no structured learning, and so on. So it's each child, each family's journey is very unique, and it also evolves over a period of time. There's no fixed path, there's no fixed way of doing it, and one would rather kind of synchronize it with the child and the family needs rather than saying, hey, this is standard one size fit all kind of approach, even in terms of let's say homeschooling, unschooling. So it's not one, which is why I don't like these schooling terms, because they still tend to be, oh, there is one way to do it, while in open learning there is no one way to do it. There are like possibly million ways of doing it, and that is the whole beauty of life. Just like we all can live life in so many different ways, we can learn also in so many different ways and live our childhood in so many different ways. uh, the whole thinking started with this question: what is the purpose of education? And obviously we when we looked around, we saw that most people are talking about earning or career and so on, which we obviously didn't connect with as a definition. So what appealed to us is that education and living is synonymous. They are just the same thing. And if we are living, we are all the time learning. And if we are learning, we are educating ourselves. So why have these boundaries? Why not just live? And as we live, we will obviously learn and educate and grow and so on. And that doesn't stop in childhood. That just keeps happening throughout the life. So that's how we would like to look at it. And if we look at it that way, then the obvious answer is that, hey, then the child should lead, uh, much like how when we become whatever 25, 30, 35, 40 years, we tend to lead our own life, make our own decision. In the same way, the child should be leader of self, making own decisions. Not that every decision will be great, but then that's true for all of us. uh, so this whole perspective of the child leading his or her life led to a few thoughts, which we call as proposition. The first one being that, hey, we don't need to have a fixed curriculum. The child can literally learn whatever the child wants to learn, millions of things or few things or one thing. Just like Lakshita was saying, she has so many interests, and that's the beauty of learning. Secondly, we don't need to really teach children. They can figure out how they want to learn. They may want a teacher. That's fine. If they want a teacher, they will find one. But otherwise, they can, meaning we all can learn in so many different ways, right? We can mostly by doing or by copying or asking or yeah, just diving into something. Uh, Also, if we take the first two together, if I'm doing what I want to do, how I want to do, then where is the need of assessment? What is really more important in that scenario is self-reflection and feedback of everybody around, and obviously my own journey of understanding myself. And finally, if we put these three together, then we realize that, hey, school, college, degrees are just some options, but those are not the only options. And one can really decide how one wants to live one's life, depending on what one's interests and what one's goals are, if somebody has that clarity. A lot of times uh, we are forced to kind of look at decisions too early in life. At 15, 17, we are deciding, oh, should I go into this line or should I go into that line? While I think life is not so simple, not everybody discovers what we really want to do. So it takes time to explore, to understand, to kind of see the world and live the world. Right. So yeah, that's broadly a quick glimpse about open learning, and I'll quickly move on to talking about Arohi. So Arohi is nothing but a community of families who kind of follow open learning, and people come together, children, adults. We make connections. Different people make connections with different people, and that's the whole idea of being in a community. So the community part becomes very important, because that gives rise to a lot of collaboration. People work together, children, adults. Again, there's no boundary between children and adults. It all depends on who wants to do what, and people do things together, as well as there is a lot of support of each other. Children supporting children, adults supporting children, children supporting adults, and so on. So if you can say how do I summarize this whole thing? So I say Arohi is all about co-creating, co-learning. So open learning is about creating learning, supporting living. And Arohi is about co-creating, co-learning, co-supporting, co-living. So this from the company, from the community comes in, and we do it kind of together, and just more fun, just more enriching to do it together. So the ways that we can do it together is at a campus. We have a campus about 60 kilometers from Bangalore, but in Tamil Nadu. And yeah, it's in a rural space, so there's space for people to stay and enjoy doing things together and living together. As well as we realize that there's so many families who want to be together, so there are families all over the country. And we also use the virtual space in today's world to connect, to do things together, and to do open learning together. Right, so that's a lot of talking that I did. Let me stop sharing here and invite you back onto videos. And now we can start our discussion. People can share, people can ask. It's all open now. Pranav is also there. Pranav, will you quickly say hi to the group?
Yeah, I'm Pranav. I'm from Mumbai. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and we are into this journey for past, I think, more than about 2 years, and loving every bit of it. So yeah, so on.
Thanks, Pranav. Okay, super. So the discussion is pretty much open. Normally, we also keep a theme every Saturday. So today's theme is what some people call as unknown future. To me, the word unknown is little redundant because rhetorical, because future is always unknown. So, and somehow people think that in open learning the future is more unknown, which which I don't know. I leave it for people to decide whether it's more unknown or less unknown. But if that is something that kind of bothers you, or it makes people anxious or worrisome, then we can talk about it and see how do open learners look at future and so on. Yeah. So that's just a theme, not that, so we can maybe start the discussion with that, but the discussion can flow in any direction. So feel free to ask questions or share anything at any point of time.
So I had a question about the future perspective. with respect to not with that my children might settle or may not settle. That's not a worry as of now for me. For me, the worry is as a parent, um, am I giving them enough exposure, or are they getting enough exposure? Or am I, I see many parents traveling, many open learners exposing to various, whether it's video games or electrical or carpentry, all kinds of interests of the child. um, but in my case, since most of the time I struggle to get information, or I see that I am constantly in myself trying to look for, am I giving them enough environment to get themselves exposed to various things that are available in the world, or what their interests are. So how do open learning parents, or generally how do the parents handle this? This has been my constant worry.
Okay. So this is more for parents. So how do you handle this? Pranav, you want to share? Others, Shiba, you want to share? There's so many people. Oh, we have Tahura also who has joined in. Nice.
Rachana, actually, I'll just try an answer, but I don't know what is enough and what is not enough. It's like what best you can do is what is enough, I believe. Uh, uh, so in a way you see where the child, in what direction a child is keen on doing something, and probably you just maneuver around that space, but not that you neglect the other spaces. As so you constantly, as you said, matlab, of course there will be limitations, and everybody, even I would have a limitation of exposing my child to everything. And even child, while it's getting exposed, at times they just matlab, exposure is fine, but over a period of time they kind of are not interested in that, and they just move on. So that's fine, and then again they probably come back to it. So it's not that कि हमने like 10 चीज को expose किया है तो अभी 10 चीज तो exhaust हो गया, ऐसा नहीं है. Probably that after some time one of those 10 things could again create a spur, some kind of spur, and the child would want to look into it again. So it's not about reaching the 1,000 number of exposures. I don't see it that way. It's the best that you can do, and be interacting with everyone, and whatever in your surrounding, whatever best you can do. And there are, I'm sure, lot many things like you don't have to even struggle a lot to give that. It's not about giving an exposure. It's about just being with them, and you also enjoying that space. It's not about कि मैं बच्चे के लिए कहीं जा रही हूँ या बच्चे के लिए कुछ कर रही हूँ. It's like if I want to see birds, I take my child along, and that's an exposure for the child. If I like to see a car exhibition, the child comes along with me and child sees. So I'm not going with an intent कि नहीं मुझे बच्चे को कार के बारे में कुछ सिखाना है या मैं जाना है. So with that mindset, if I go, then probably I don't know. I will keep counting in that way, and then over we will be get tired. It's okay. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. So I think more importantly is what are you interested in, and probably just and check with them what they are interested in. That's it.
Thank you, Pranav.
Yeah, even I'd add to that. I think every experience that a child gets is a learning experience. So with three of our kids, I can vouch for it that they are better off without going to school. So, and if I had sent them to school, I would have had, very different three kids. And I'm proud of what they are now, their independence, their decision-making skill, their judgment, everything. I mean, I had a proper school education, so I can see the difference. When I was a child, and the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they handle situations, they make judgments and decisions. Sometimes I feel they are, better off than me. So I'm proud of the fact that they could experience that freedom to learn and to be what they are. And yes, from here on, of course, as they grow older, the question of whether they should go for certification or whether they should take exams or not is like a turning point. So my doubt is, should we be the ones who take the decision as parents, or I mean, I think it's better for them to decide whether they want the certification, or in case of my son, whether he wants to write an IELTS 10th or not. I have left it to him. So he's I mean, he's little undecided that way, but he thinks it's to be on the safer side, he would, write 10th and 12th, and maybe for if ever he wants to do some proper degree course or something. He's not decided what he wants to do. exactly now. So to be on the safer side, he is saying he wants to write an exam and maybe get prepared for it. So I think it's wiser to go according to his decision, because I can't take a risk of telling him that no, you don't have to write, you have other options without certification. So is it right on my part to insist that he needn't do exams also? I think, isn't it better that it's a child's decision?
That's an interesting one. I would say it is not about whether the child takes the decision or whether the parent take the decision, or whether as a family you take a decision. Yeah, I think it's first of all, it's not a one-off decision. I think it's a journey. It's first of all to I would say somehow the decision is kept as a separate decision and everything else is separate, right? But I would say, to me, it's like any other decision, meaning should we eat whatever, this food, or should we eat that food? We explore, we try, we discuss, we see what are the, there's so many things one does. Or should we travel to this city, or should we travel to that city? Somehow I think all decisions are a process, are a journey which uh, possibly the whole family would engage in, not in terms of just this or that, but in terms of first understanding where are we coming from, what is our needs, why does one want to do something, why does one not want to do some things, what are the pros and cons, and so on and so forth. And so it's not about, I would say it's more of co-deciding than one person deciding and the other not deciding. And also because you have fewer examples of people not doing 10th 12th, it's just that like the whole world is kind of doing it. uh, it possibly requires a little more effort from the whole family side to talk to more people. For example, you can ask the same question to Lakshita. What would she like to do? uh, uh, and just hear her view, not to say that one has to follow one view or the other, and so on and so forth. So because, as I said, there are just very few people who are thinking, even questioning whether one should I or should I not. This itself is a very this kind of a question, should I give 10th or not, is only a handful of people asking this question. So I would also say, go ahead, talk to more people, especially to people who have not done any 10 12, and see, hey, what kind of a journey you had. And it's very, very interesting to take, especially people who took that not out of compulsion. So I'm not saying you go to a, let's say, let's say a rural village where people did not do 10 12, not because of an option, but more because that's how their circumstances were. Rather, go to people who have taken it as a choice, that I don't think I need to do that. So yeah, but the most important thing is to keep asking this question, why not, why not, and so on. Right. So maybe if you would like, we can invite Lakshita to share what are her thoughts. Let's see what a 14-year-old, another 14-year-old thinks about it. Lakshita, you want to share?
Yeah, sure. For me, I don't really want to take 10th and 12th, and I told that to my parents, and they just said, all right, because what else can they do? They can't force me to the exam hall. I mostly said no because I can just take it later when if needed. And another reason is I don't see any use for it, because even if I take, I'll have used up this amount of time where I could have been doing something else. And if I need it later, I'll take it. But as for now, I don't want it. I don't need it. Also, I can find another way to get what I want. I don't know what I want, but I can just find another way. And it's basically, I'll just be wasting my time, learning something that I won't really use, or something I might already know. and I didn't really learn anything in school. I don't remember much. So I already used up that much time. So I don't want to waste too much time on learning things that won't be of use to me as far as I think. So that's why I'm not taking it.
Thanks, Lakshita. The interesting thing I think she's saying is that take it if needed. So I think that's a big realization that we can always give 10. There is, at any age you can give 10, 12, or go to a particular college or learn a particular, let's say, skill. One can learn calculus at 35 or learn gardening at 35 or whatever. There's no stopping uh, anybody from even joining. You can even join a medical college at 35. There are people, not even people. I have a friend who joined at 44. She joined a medical college at the age of 44 because she suddenly got interested in medicine. So yeah, you can. It's very, very open.
I would like to ask something. So, uh, what do you tell a child who's 9, say for my son, now who's insisting on joining a regular school, uh, just because his friends are there?
Sure.
So, because we have spoken to him about Arohi as well, and he has a rough idea what it is. And earlier he was interested that, yes, I would like to explore Arohi as well. But now he is more inclined to join a regular school, on a specific regular school, just because
His
2 or
friends are
3 of
there.
his
Yeah.
couple of friends are there.
Sure.
So how do we talk to child that way to, like we had seen in the video, that let the child lead, right? Or what the interest is. So now what do we call this? And is there a need for us as parents to interfere, or we just let him go with the flow, that okay, we go and get him admission to a regular school, let him explore and realize, and then if at all he wants to continue, he continues, or wants to take a sabbatical, then do that. So what would be your suggestion or take on it?
I don't have a suggestion much similar to the question that Shiva was asking about 10th and 12th. It's not like I have a suggestion, but it's a call that you have to all take as a family. I'm sure you have made him realize both the sides of, yes, in the school he will have friends. Maybe he will enjoy it. Maybe, as you said, he will continue it. Maybe he will leave it. Maybe if he gets to more understand what happens in a school and so on, so he may even not join it. So I think there is no one right or wrong decision. That's the beauty of open learning. You are not holding on to one way or one method, but exploring together as a family. So maybe you can, I'm sure you would have already shared your childhood experiences. Your spouse would have shared his childhood experiences of school, and so on. So we can obviously give information. We can make him make him meet more people, much like the same thing about giving 10th and 12th. We can get children to understand and gather information, but finally, yeah, as a family, whatever you decide is good enough. As you are saying, you can even reverse that decision after some time. So in my experience, I've seen both kinds of examples where people have gone back to, or not gone back, but started school at a particular age and continued it from there, and also started school at a particular age and then came back out of it. So we have both kind of examples. Yeah, and in fact, I think the Hura is
If
asking. Yeah, go
can
ahead,
I,
Pranav. Yes,
yeah,
please.
I will just add this on this point. Now I don't know how old your child is, ma'am, Shaili.
He's 9 now.
She
He's 9.
He's 9. So he's been to school earlier, or he's not been to school?
We've been doing open learning for 4-5 years, but he's been to kindergarten
Okay.
in a
Okay.
regular
So
school.
I don't know, Malab,
Kindergarten in a regular
so
school.
what? So I assume in open learning also he must be making friends, and the best decision comes out of experiencing things. So when you experience probably say a particular setup, say a setup like an ROE or any other community for that matter, any community where there are other people, there is things happening, that experience, and there you can find more different friends as well. So if he's just joining the school for the sake of friends, it's not about saying no to him. It's about making him aware and making him experience more things so that he could make a better choice. That's the only thing. So
Yes,
and more what to say, thoughtful choice, because it is not just driven by a certain emotion or a kind of a thing wherein because मेरे friends आ रहे हैं तो मुझे जाना है, because ये team friends में उसका time spend करना है. So that's more the experience probably that will help him take more better decision. That's the only thing you can as a parent do.
Yeah, so we are a part of a learning community in Kochi already. So we are part of this community called as Bhumi Learning Community. And we have been there for, like, when I say open learning, we have been part of this community where we are doing open learning. We're a community of 15 to 20 families. So it's not that he doesn't have friends there. Few friends from the community they have joined regular school. So now he feels that maybe he needs to explore that, or he gets a lot of questions from the family, like from my family or from my husband's family, like aunts and uncles, which class are you in, and what do you study, and he's got cousins who go to school every day, wear their uniforms, take their bags, they have the online class. So they feel that he's feeling left out, that he's not able to explore that or enjoy that, whereas we don't feel that way. But so now he comes up with this thing that no, I would like to join a regular school, because surprisingly he would like to join that one specific school,
Sure.
not the other schools.
Obviously, his attraction is more towards his friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in
like
that
you
case,
said that, yeah.
In that case, as a parent, I would let the child go to the school for a year.
Right.
Let the child even experience that. So everything is an
Right.
experience, is a learning.
Yes,
So in open
Absolutely.
learning, there is nothing is to be discarded. So probably he'll see something there. It's not about like we are deciding about that is the right path or that is the right wrong path. There's nothing like that.
Correct.
So let the child experience something, and of that whatever next comes. That's it.
absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pranav.
Yeah, I think Bhairavi, you have typed a long chat message. Maybe you
Yeah.
can talk it
Yeah,
out.
I can talk now.
Before
That's
that, I'll just answer Tahura's question. She's saying, do we have children in Arohi community who haven't done 10th and 12th? So yes, Tahura, first of all, both of my children haven't done 10th or 12th at all. And there are many other children who have not done 10th and 12th. So, yeah. We have a fair number of examples. And we also have examples of children who have done 10th and 12th and not doing anything with their 10th and 12th. So that's also an interesting group of children who are not using their 10th and 12th because they never really, in that sense want to. And then there are also children who did finally 10th and 12th, and they have kind of either going now or planning to go to college. So there's all a mix of all, because finally it's a family decision. It's not obviously Arohi decision. Each family decides. Yeah. Okay, Bhairavi, over to you.
I'd like to ask Lakshita. Lakshita, how old are you?
Shiva, just 1 minute. Shall we take Bhairavi's thoughts and then we'll come back to you?
Yes, sure.
I'm waiting.
Hello. Good evening. My question is actually not regarding the 10th and 12th at all, because
Sure.
that's not what bothers me ever. I don't know. But what bothers me is the 0 to 6, So, I somehow feel that's like the, that cream period where you can actually get the love for learning, which I've always believed in. And that's how I worked with my elder one. But the thing is, whenever I come up to these meets and when I see that, when you talk about it it's happening very organically, in the sense the child's needs coming up. So if I give you, for example, with my little one who's 1.5, now if I'm doing like, if we are playing games like, through colors or doing some activities or so that, should I be doing those things or should I wait for her to, that's what, just for an example, like with my elder one, if we do a lot of handwork, we do a lot of painting and all. Her schooling she handles on her own. I really don't bother with that. But when I'm doing extra things also with her, like when we do topics like dinosaurs or flowers, we usually do card games, or we dissecting a flower or so for at 7. So when I sometimes feel that should I be supporting that much, or should I still wait for her to, I don't know, where should I stop? My whole question is, when we're doing open learning, that's what my concern is. Like when Mr. Pranav sir gave an example of, going to a car exhibition, just going and not really going with that intention of, teaching anything. And but then when we discuss, okay, we go to the exhibition, we discuss regarding cars. When I come back, do I stop on it? How do I take it forward? Like, should I just, because when you're looking at open learning, you're not looking at schooling at all. So I really don't know, how does that base grow up? Should I be doing anything with my little one, or should I just let her be? Meaning, in the sense, when I do activities or when we play cards or we're dissecting a flower, they're all enjoying all that. But then again, I have that guilt that am I supporting too much? That's what my guilt is at the moment. I don't know whether I made sense, but yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Pranav, you want to respond to that first?
Yeah, firstly, to no, sir, stop doing that. Whatever else you have to stop, not stop, I don't know. The thing is, that see, we have your child is how old, Bhairavi?
My elder daughter is 7 years old, and my younger one is 1.5.
Okay, so we have worked with children in that age group, like from 2.5 to 7 years as storytelling and all. And we do a lot of stuff with them, as a part of storytelling. But that apart, my daughter had been to school till third standard, or second, and then third, she withdrew from the school. So as a parent, I would always, I would not stop, or but I would always be with her, as a, whatever, like talking with her, discussing stories, doing some science experiments, going out, doing things. So I never kept that cap of, this is what I want to do, or should I restrict. It's all about the joy. It's about just connecting, being bonding with the child. That's it. So I just see it at that level. It's not about educating a child or learning, or from that perspective. I just see it as a father and daughter bond. That's it, purely at that level. And we are just doing things together. That's it. So this thing at the back of the mind never comes at me. मैं कुछ सिखा रहा हूँ. That was never there. So I don't know. मतलब supporting. So as a parent, yes, we can facilitate the child, and there is no maximum or no minimum, as per me. So that's what I can answer here. So it's not. I don't think if you are doing too many things with your child, and as long as your child is interested, plus if your child is wanting you to do it with her or him, then you are doing anything wrong in that.
But is that how open learning goes, or is it different? That's what my actual question is.
I don't know. There is no definition for open learning per se. I will have the
like
definition.
like when I'm talking about Arohi campus, also you have people who are, as you said, they're facilitators. So if somebody comes up with some question, or they want to go on something, like they want to learn something, so then you facilitate that. So when you facilitate that, how do you facilitate that? I mean, you show them the resources and you stop, or do you make them understand that thing? How do you do that?
Ratish, I'll just take 2 minutes more just to answer this. So facilitating is like, I'll just give you one example. Like I was sitting with my daughter and we were just reading a book, Sapiens karke hai, there is graphic version. And she said, I don't want to read book. I want to do something. So मुझे ऐसे reading नहीं करना है. Reading वाला part I will manage. I want to do something with you. And then we started doing something on, okay, what should we do? Then we started, that's a film that we made on that. So we started doing some shadow art. Like we spoke, let's try and do shadow art. And then we started working on it together. And she herself saw some YouTube videos. We started making impressions on the wall. She understood kitna lights kam hona chahiye. This should be the angle of light. And that's how. And it was just a 1 hour or 2 hour thing that we did together. And she enjoyed that process, and that there was joy in that. And so there was she wanted to do it, and I just facilitated her. I was with her, and she was driving the whole thing. So it's not that I can say कि तुम तुम्हारा शेड आउट करो, मैं नहीं जाता, मैं तो या तो बुक ही पढ़ाऊंगा या तो नहीं कराऊंगा. ऐसा वाला I don't think is a idea here.
No,
I can
not
be
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how to put that forward, but
Maybe
at
I didn't put it
every
rightly then.
step, like at every step, do you provide them the resources, or do you like be with them throughout that thing, or do you just let them be? And how do you reinforce the same thing again and again when as they're growing? Like in school, generally they reinforce things, and that's how they remember certain basic things. But when we look at open learning, how, because there's no point then if we start reinforcing, or then we, then it's that we actually burdening them more than school when it comes to really homeschooling or home drilling them. But then how do we, like, how does it happen, like, organically?
So where we let's pause and take a step back and try and first understand, uh, how do we look at the child and us? These are the two people right now in the equation, or children and us. And I think that's the more important thing. Then how exactly you want to do is really up to you. Yeah. I think the core difference between schooling, or even what people use as homeschooling, is and open learning, is that in open learning, we are not responsible for the child's learning, because the child is responsible for his and her learning. Now, your 1.5-year-old is a perfect example of a completely responsible being for his learning. Because a 1.5-year-old is all the time finding out, sometimes throwing something, looking into something, putting his hand into something, turning something ups and down, asking what is this, where it is to be used. He is whole day. I have not met your son, but I can with guarantee say his
Daughter.
whole day he is completely responsible for his learning. He knows he has to explore, he has to ask, he has to taste, he has to throw, he has to hit, he has to drop, he has to bang, he has to do all kinds of things so that he learns about this world around him, right? And so if you look at it, are you responsible for that 1.5-year-old learning? The answer is no. And if the answer is no, then the answer is no forever. So the responsibility comes to the child. Now, when you are free of that responsibility, then neither you have a guilt, am I doing too much? Nor you have a guilt that I am doing too less, like let's say smiling now, or I am doing in this direction, or I am taking that decision. Then you are just there. Wherever your interest goes, as Pranav was saying, you get involved. Wherever you don't feel like getting involved, don't get involved. Wherever you want to provide resources, you provide resources. Wherever you don't want to provide resources, don't provide resources. Wherever you want to be a problem, be a problem. Wherever you want to be a solution, be a solution. But in anything and everything that you do, you're totally free, because the child is responsible for his or her learning. Right? You can do all kinds of things. You can fight with the child, you can leave the child alone, you can walk with the child, you can push the child, you can pull the child can pull you. All interactions are valid interactions. And in fact, I would say in a day, in a week, in a month, all of these would happen. If they're not happening, there's something wrong with you. You are thinking too much. So you don't think, but you enjoy, as Pranav is saying, in different ways.
Can I add something to it? From my
Please,
experience,
Shiva.
I think kids are, better explorers than us when it comes to resources. Because I used to, I had this guilt of I'm not doing much. So I used to impose upon them my interests, the resources that I find, thinking that it would interest them too, and they'll use it the way I want them to. But they've many times they've surprised me with coming up with their own resources, and I felt that works better. So let them explore and let them find their own resources. It works better, and with all the information and technology at their fingertips,
Yeah.
I think they are better explorers than us. So if we give the child the freedom to find out what he or she likes and what they want to do, they'll definitely come up with more about it, resources especially. So sometimes we are not the right persons to give them resources. They are the better people to find them for find it for themselves, I feel.
And at the same time, don't shy away when you feel like pushing them for a resource. Go ahead,
Yeah.
go full on.
We can always,
Enjoy that also.
And especially from my older son, I have learned a lot from him actually. When I give him something, he gives me 2 things back. I mean, that kind of learning, whether it's a new internet language or new words. Even my younger son, for that matter, he's coming up with a lot of new words. I mean, like, and he makes me go search for it and, find out that, yeah, this is the new words, words made up from 2 other words or internet language or whatever. So for me, it's been a learning experience, learning from them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've always felt they are better explorers.
I think that solves my problem. So that's what I didn't want to know, because with my elder one, it's fine. With my younger one, I said, well, should I not embark on the same journey again? Should I make it different? That's what I had a confusion, because
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Shiba, you wanted to have a chat with Lakshita.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Lakshita. I think she's, how old are you, Lakshita? Around 15, maybe 15.
I'll be 14 in 2 months.
So when you have decided that you don't want to take any exam right now, so how do you go about it? I mean, like, you just follow your interests, or how do you see yourself? I mean, what do you do day by day? You just take the day as it comes. Do you have a plan, or do you follow any particular interest at a particular time? How do you go about it?
Uh, I can absolutely guarantee you I have zero plans for my days. Like, I broadly have a plan, but then, not specifically, because over time things may change, things may not change, who cares? Um, Day by day, I have a few base interests I work on all the time. And so I just work on those. Like, since I like writing and film and animation, I'm more leaning towards the writing room side, the show running side of all that. So I work on storylines, and it's all developing. And then I also play violin and keyboard, so I practice those. And then I do some storyboarding, so I storyboard. And then I use a lot of, and that takes up a lot of my time. I also do some art, and after that I'm just too tired to do anything, so I just sleep. There's not much other than that.
Okay, so you have a lot of things, filled up in a day. So are there days where you just lay around on the bed and, do you watch the screen for a long time? How do you control your screen time? Or are you
I
not so interested in watching the
I
screen?
uh, I honestly don't care about my screen time, because as long as I'm being productive, it really doesn't matter. It's not like I'm addicted, because I can easily spend months without watching anything. I can obviously do that, but it's just that my work is on the screen. And well, lazing around, everybody has days where they just feel like lazing around, so that happens. And mostly I work quite a lot. It might seem that I'm not working, but I am working, and that happens most of the time. I have a few other interests, like I do lots of sociology and kind of that area, broadly that area. So I research on like history, feminism, and you know, um, I do a lot of stuff. So I have alternating interests that, if I get bored of one, I just have one I can go to. And if I get bored of that, I come back to this. And if I get bored of both of them, then that day is just a rest day. And then obviously I don't get bored of them forever, because these are long lasting interests and I've had them for ages. So I don't really have any boring days or anything, but I do have some days where I just waste my time, but mostly I work and I am productive. um that is recently. Like, I came out of school last year around July, August. So, like, until like January this year, I did not do much at all, because I was going through this whole thing where I was figuring out what to do, because it was so confusing. Like, after having everything is told to you and you know what to do and you know what's coming next. I suddenly had nothing to guide me. So it was a sort of really dark phase, and then now I'm doing stuff. And then sometimes I go back to that phase and then I come out. So it's like it's basically up and down. It's wavy, really wavy.
So when you say you work and you have particular interest, do you look up to a mentor or a teacher or an adult for help, or do you just find it out for yourself? How do you go about it?
I actually don't like people talking to me about my interests more than I want to, because I have certain beliefs about them. And if they clash, I get really angry and annoyed. So, no, I don't have a mentor. I learn completely by myself. And I do learn a lot by myself rather than with a mentor. There are certain things I need a teacher for, and I have a teacher or a mentor. I don't know exactly what to call, but yeah, mostly I learn by myself. When I feel like I can't go past a certain point, I get help, but other than that I don't. Even if I need help, I somehow figure it out. I'm too stubborn to get help.
Okay. Nice talking to you, Lakshita. Thank you so much. You're my son's age. That's why I was just a little curious. I mean, when you're so confidently saying you don't want schooling, I mean, you don't want to take 10. So I just wanted to know how you take it. Okay.
You
I
could
yeah,
you
I
could just
definitely hope I'll
not,
meet you.
yeah, you could just say it's not like I'm saying this because of my age and you have to ask me about that. It's just I'm really stubborn about it, and then through my experiences and as far as my experience have been related to school, they've been mostly negative and not really nice. They're just traumatic outright. So I've been very against giving exams, and I don't want to give them because it's the same thing over and over again. But I guess for your son, maybe he would like to give it, and I don't think there's honestly anything wrong with that because he feels the need to give it. I just feel the need to not give it. Either way is fine in my opinion.
No, my son actually has a problem with sitting and writing. He has never written a proper exam all his life. So he can't sit in a place for an hour and, write 10 or 12 pages together. So that's what I am worried about. When he confidently says that he wants to take up NIOS, I have my doubts. So anyway, I'm just moving along with it, leaving it to him. He can always,
Yeah.
take.
So Shiva, in my experience, these are very small things. We tend to give importance to sitting in one place, being able to write, being able to compose answers. But
yeah,
in
that's
my
the
experience, children, if they want to give something, if that requires sitting in one place, if that requires doing something in a specific way, they just do it because they want it, right? They have chosen it. They are wanting. I can give you an example, a little different example of a group of children from Arohi who are all open learners went to Gulmarg for a skiing course. Now that's run by a military style. It's a government institute and it's run ekdam military style with very strict rules, timings, so on and so forth. Instructors and all very very military style. But these kids who have come from an open learning environment, who like totally drive their life here, in fact, they very easily adapted to that environment and thoroughly enjoyed their 2 weeks course and learned a whole lot of skiing, even won some medals and came back. Right? So it's not like that, oh, just because you're an open learner, now you can't do it this way, or you can't follow orders, or you can't adjust to this place. I think kids don't think of it like that. They just go ahead and see, if this is something that I want, how do I want to go about it, and whatever it requires. I'm sure if tomorrow Lakshita wants to give an examination, she can very easily give if she wants to. Right? So it's not about any one particular child not having something. And for that matter, not just about children, it's about all of us. Right? So all of us would adapt to something because we want to do in that field. I think that's That's an amazing human strength that we all have to adapt to something because now we want something. And perhaps one of the examples is marriage itself. Where we adapt to a new person in our life simply because we want that person in our life, right? So we have to now figure it out. So like that. So I think it's all right.
No, it's same like if you ask me to wake up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock for doing yoga, I might not do it. But for playing cricket or something, I probably might just wake up that early and go. But I fully ready and probably wake few others. So that's how it works probably.
Sure.
And I have another question, that how do we manage academics in open learning? Because some children might be open to, reading, writing, or maybe, do something more in
Can I
academics,
ask you a
whereas some kids.
question before you continue? What is academics?
Okay. Books, reading, writing. Well, that's just my opinion. Yeah.
So when you say books, I'm assuming you're saying reading and writing is academic.
Reading and writing, yes. Yes, like having the basic knowledge of reading and writing and mathematics is what I feel is academics. Nothing beyond that is completely, I believe it's the child's choice what the
Then
child
where do you need
wants
to
to
manage
explore.
that? Because those are just day-to-day tools. Just like they learned how to walk and just like they learned how to eat, they will learn how to talk and read. And let's say transact, if that is what you meant by mathematics, in terms of money transactions,
Yes.
stuff like that. So I think it's just there because it's there as part of our life. It's not at all something which is away from our life, right? In fact, one might need to make a conscious effort of something which is not our regular part of day-to-day life. But whatever is part of our day-to-day life, why would one need to make any effort? It should just be effortless. Just like how they start just walking one fine day. No, they don't start walking one fine day. Actually, they put in a lot of effort to be able
Right.
to start walking one fine day. In the
That's
same way, the same holds for reading, writing, transacting, talking, convincing, manipulating, all of these essential skills in life, negotiating, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So then can I be more specific towards my question now?
Sure.
So my son, he reads well. Like you said, it just came naturally, right? How kids learn to walk or run. So similarly, reading came very naturally to him over time, and we are very proud of it that we didn't have to enforce him into, you have to learn reading or you have to learn this, word or a letter. But when it comes to writing, well, he's not very interested in writing, though. When said that no, you have to write this thing, but if we do it in the form of games, he is very much into it. He would love. He jumps into it. Okay, let's do this thing, even though if it involves writing. But I think over this past year, we got a little conscious of him knowing mathematics in the sense that addition, subtractions, these basic calculations, addition, subtraction,
Yeah. So
multiplication.
pause. So Shaili,
Yes.
so the first thing we have to think about is that these things, whether they are reading, writing, or mathematics, or whatever, washing their own clothes. I know you are not including that in academics, but I am. Washing own clothes, cooking one's own meal, because I guess that's important to live. Uh, so see, it's a question of how much interaction I have with or how much need I have. And as Lakshita was
Right.
saying earlier, if I need it, I will learn it. Right. So as and when he needs more writing, he will get into writing, or let's say he develops his interest into writing. Let's say he doesn't develop his interest in writing, but let's say he develops an interest in vlogging, like making videos. Now today's world
Right.
is 90% about videos. I don't see
That's
people
true.
reading as much then. So he may develop that skill, and he may find that to be far more powerful in today's world as compared to, let's say, written word, which I don't know how many people anyway read. Right? And so on. And even with, let's say, if you talked about mathematical skills, or for that matter, any skill, right? the point is not about when he will learn. The point is, if it's part of his context, if it's part of his need, he will learn it. If it's not part of his need, he will not learn it. And why learn it in any case?
Right.
Let's learn what is part of my either my need or my interest or my desire or whatever I want to do. So let's say 10
Right.
years from now, let's say when he's 19 or 29 or 39, and he needs a certain concept of, let's say, mathematics to be able to do something. I'm sure he will figure it out.
Right.
At the age of 19, maybe he will have a girlfriend who says, write a letter to me, and then he'll figure out how to write a love letter to her. So who knows, right? How things pan out. So it's more a question of context. And see, the conventional system has sliced everything and said this has to be learned this time. Now that's become a huge burden for so many. It's become a
Right.
pleasure also for some, but it's also become a burden for so many, including so many teachers. It's a burden for teachers to now somehow ensure that all 9-year-olds should know how to write an essay. Why? Meaning, let's leave essay writing to Lakshita. She anyway loves writing. Let this guy do what he likes writing. What he
Give
likes
me
to-
money, I'll write it for you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Lakshita is looking at it as business.
Yes.
Write for others.
I'm broke and dependent on my parents. I have no choice but to look at business.
That's a good idea. Let's earn money.
Yeah, and many things, Shaili, what we think today are getting so obsolete at a very fast pace. So today there are apps where you just speak and the app just types the whole stuff. On WhatsApp, you can just type the thing. So writing, I don't know, after some years, probably it would be needed, not needed. So what we have seen as our past probably is not the future. Uh, uh, so things are moving at a really rapid pace. And if you there are books you can read, there is so you can there is study, there is data available which says that changes are happening at a very rapid fast pace.
So it's basically the concern of the parent, me as a parent, and of course my son knows what he needs now, so he's doing it accordingly, right? So, but like just like you said, Pranav, that right, things are changing so rapidly, but we are still stuck onto our past, how we learned, and we would like a child to learn the similar way. So that needs to change.
And if he
Thank you
lands
so
up in a
much.
school, he will. Sorry, go ahead. Pranav.
Yeah. In fact, if he doesn't, if he feels the lack of writing, he might look for a solution for that. Okay, how can I create something? If I cannot read, there is Audible these days.
Yes.
You use Audible for reading books. So so there are so many things which are just coming up. So and he might also find some solution. He might find for something different, which would be far better than what Audible or WhatsApp could provide as an app. So that is also a possibility. So something which is a constraint or hindrance to him, he'll look for a solution for that, probably scale it up to a different level.
Right.
So that is also a possibility. I'm just saying that. So yeah.
Thank you.
Just to add, you are so worried about mathematics, and I can assure you, you don't need to be worried, because my parents spent lots of money and lots of time on teaching me mathematics, and even right now I don't know how to multiply properly, even basic multiplication. I'm still learning actually, and frankly I survived, so it's fine.
That's true. A lot of things we don't really use, which is dished out as something as called as academics. So that is why I say, to me, everything is an elective. Nothing is academics.
Thank you so much for your inputs, Ratnesh, Pranav, and Lakshita.
Okay. Yeah, we normally close around 6:30, so we have few more minutes. If some people have more questions or more thoughts to share, we can take that. And also, if you have anything specific to Arohi, Neha, you haven't kind of much after your initial beautiful introduction. We didn't kind of hear much from you. If you have any questions, any thoughts, you can also ask or share. just inviting you and everybody else if there's anything.
Uh, I want to share my experience of at my center related to my center. So when I have started it, I was just thinking that student was not taking interest in academic studies. They are taking interest in art work or many more things in everything, but they are not taking interest in academic study. So I was just thinking that why they didn't used to take interest in academic study or like that. In fact, if we are talking about other thing than syllabus, then they take interest, book reading or many more things. So I just want to clarify as means I used to think that because the school give them more pressure to learn or write or books or academics or many more things, that's why they don't used to take interest in academics, because already they spend more time on academics in school. So is it means I want to understand, like, is it right reason or maybe or many reason may possible means to not take interest in writing or reading? Is it my question is clear or what?
Well, if you're wanting to know why they are not interested, I guess they are the best people to ask, because I have no idea why they are not interested,
Because
and
they
you may
used to
get
say
10 different
no,
answers.
they used to tell no, we don't want to learn it. Yeah, I even in starting I used to just try to make them they should do maths or like that, but after attending some sessions of ROE or reading about many more learning procedures or many more things, then also as you told before, if children need or if it is thing of his or her context, then they will learn. That is means that happened. But now I don't used to just I don't try to make them to read or write academic, but then also I want to know that was the reason behind that. Means why not? Even when I was also in school, then I used to take interest in reading other books or used to read the other classes books or many more other, but I never I didn't take interest in academics or syllabus. Even I like to study the next class syllabus but not my syllabus. So what means I want to just understand this, what's the reason, like psychological reason or what's something like why not we means children also, and as I shared about me, so why this happens means not taking interest in syllabus. Instead of syllabus everything we can write or read, but why not syllabus? I just a normal question.
Anybody wants to answer that?
Me, I think in my experience, basically, most people just refuse outright just refuse syllabus, but still have to follow it because it's imposed upon them. It's like the situation, like don't do something and then we want to do that something they said not to do. So the same way they're like, do this something and we don't want to do just because they're saying. And another reason it's boring, because I didn't choose that I wanted to learn that. Somebody just said this is important, you have to learn, and I don't see the importance because I don't understand it, and there's nobody who understands it either. They were also told the same thing and they just learned it that way. So I think that's another reason that people don't understand the importance of it, and that way they don't care. And that's fine really. If you don't think it's important, you don't have to learn. And another thing is refusing authority, which I do a lot. My parents tell me to learn a certain thing and I might want to learn it, but just because they said I should learn it, I don't learn it. It's just fun refusing and then looking at their reaction. And obviously as children it's fun to be playful, and even as adults it's fun. That's why some people just outright refuse work that their bosses give to them, which I've seen happen. So that's my explanation for it.
So to add to Lakshita, I would yeah just say child is not able to connect to what the book or the syllabus is talking about. The child is not interested. The child is not ready, whether it's mentally, physically, or whatever way. The child is not ready for that kind of an information at that point of time. So uh, this is coming from my son's experience. My son was not ready for even the LKG, UKG kind of a heavy syllabus that is for now. He was just not ready. He was the minute we say school or book or something, it's like he's on a discomfort zone. But now it's been more than a year. We are on in this, open learning or homeschooling journey. Now he's ready and he grasps better. He is interested. He goes and he says he wants to write, he wants to do mathematics. So it all comes, I think, because the child is now able to connect things, get interest in that, wants to know, needs to know, feels the need to learn that because he or she wants to use it day to day. So I think a lot of such reasons, along with what Lakshita said, is for each different child to not read the syllabus.
Yeah, I would also second that, because I've felt in our learning center, we had kids who came in the evenings. So they're attending normal or ordinary schools here, and they come here in the evening for 2 hours. And we had sort of activity based science, maths, and English. That's what we used to do. So the kids enjoyed it very much. And at a point of time, they'd bring in their homeworks. I realized that, you have to draw the line between the parents expected us to help them do their homework. So from my experience and my learning, I felt that kids cannot relate to what is there in the textbook or what they're learning, and they can't comprehend. Almost 80% of it, they can't comprehend and relate to. So that makes the whole process of learning and going and sitting in the school from morning till evening a waste of their time. That's what I felt. So when you start at their level of understanding, that's what we used to do here. Find out what their level of understanding it is and do from there. It makes it more interesting for them. So the basic problem with textbooks is, I think, it's most of the stuff they can't relate to, first of all, and we live in a very semi-rural town. So most of the things that kids can't relate to, and they can't comprehend it. And teachers are not the best persons and space to explain it in a better way where each kid can understand at his own level. So yeah, when you make it more readable and when they can understand it, I think their interest in reading and writing also improves. I guess that's what I have experienced here.
So Neha, we would look forward to some videos of your children telling why they don't like to do something, because I would like to hear from them, because they are the one refusing and they will have their own reason, and whatever is their reason is the genuine reason, right? Who cares what is written in a psychology book? What they are thinking is their thinking, right? Their thinking is important, and let's listen to their thinking and then take it from there. So I'm sure it will match a lot to what Lakshita, Rachna, and Shiba were sharing. But yes, it would be fun to just record them express their reasons for doing something or not doing something, and it's just very interesting. At least in my journey, I've learned or understood more about children and people more by just listening to what are their reasons for doing something and not doing something.
Exactly.
And that's been the fun part. Okay, cool. So we are at 6:30. Let's take a pause here, and yeah, thank you everybody for a lively discussion today. And
thank you so much. It was a wonderful experience being the first time and first introductory meet.
Sure.
Look
So
forward to more.
yeah. Just a reminder that tomorrow we have two events actually. Pranav will talk about the event at 3 o'clock, but I'll talk about the event at 5 o'clock. Uh, 5 o'clock, we have a orientation for families who would like to join the Arohi community, either whether you want to join at campus or you want to join online. So if you're interested in joining Arohi community, join that orientation. Same link which you have used just now, the same link there for the 5 o'clock event. And there's something also happening at 3 o'clock. Pranav, over to you.
Ratnesh, I think there is some confusion. The festival is at 5 o'clock, right?
Oh, sorry. Am I confusing the time? Sorry. I mixed up the time. Thanks, Pranav, for correcting me. Yeah, so the event that Pranav is going to talk about, which is a film festival, is happening at 5. The orientation is happening at 3. Sorry. Yeah. So if you are wanting to join Arohi, join us at 3. And any which way, join us at 5, which Pranav will tell you.
Yeah. So 5. So we are having this film festival wherein the families from Arohi community and the children along with that, of course, the children being the lead of the film. We have made some small 8 films, short films, and just to share our journey of open learning and small incidents. And so we are having this a film festival. It will be all full of fun and all. At the end, we are planning to have award ceremony where you can vote the best actor, best actress. It's more of a fun event, just proper filmfare award types, but here there will be live screening of films. So we'll screen 8 films and we'll talk to the makers of the film, and yeah, that's what it is. So it should be and for you to witness these journeys and how families come together. And none of the families are like filmmakers, they are all like normal household home productions. So it's what we have done. So you are welcome to join us for the festival.
Yeah, each film is just few minutes, and as Pranav pointed out, they are all about open learning. So each film conveys one aspect or one.
And they are all true, based on true events. So they are not fictions. They are based on true events from our journey, from whatever journey the child has been through or we have been through as parents, and it's a small spectacle of that. Yeah.
So how do we connect? Through Zoom?
Same link, exactly the same link at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So there are 2 events. One is the first one would be around, let's say, half an hour or 40 minutes, 3 to 3:40, and this is from maybe 5 to 6 or something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you then. Thank you, everybody. And
you.
we'll anyway be there again next Saturday and continue every Saturday. So anytime you feel like joining, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much.